Hey, what is up everyone? Danny and Alex. In this boxing tutorial, I want to cover the right hand. All right, so a lot of people who train boxing, kickboxing, mixed martial arts, Muay Thai are having issues landing the straight right hand. So we're going to cover some details in this video. All right, so the first thing I want to look at is proper mechanics of throwing the right hand. All right, because if you don't have the proper form, you're not going to be able to land the right hand. All right, that means proper extension, pivoting, and weight transfer. All right, so we're going to get into our stance here. And the first thing I want to do, and do it slow, Alex, just throw that right cross, right? So a lot of times what happens is people just throw the right hand, but they don't turn their body. All right, so the first thing you want to work on every time you're shadow boxing and practicing in front of a mirror, for example, is making sure you have proper body mechanics. All right, so imagine that someone was pulling you without your feet moving. All right, just like this. Don't move your feet. Boom. And that's the full extension, right? If his feet were bolted into cement, I wouldn't be able to pull any further. That's the rotation of that shoulder and his trunk. All right, so if you look at his shoulder position right now, his lead hand, or that lead shoulder, is going to be in front when he brings his hands up. Now, when he throws the cross, I want him to reverse this and have this shoulder in front. So that's the maximum extension he can reach for that cross. That's the right hand's length, all right? So that's how he's gonna get proper mechanics. So if you can remember this now, you'll be able to get that distance, and that's gonna help you as the first tip to land the right hand, all right? So if you look here once again, just to prove a point, don't move anything but your hands, Alex, and reach your jab here. Know your jab first, right here. So this would be the extension of his jab. Now, I don't want you to rotate. Just throw the right hand. See, he comes up short. Now come back with your jab. See, this is the distance of the jab. I'm not moving my target. Now rotate your shoulder on the right hand and rotate now. Rotate. See? Now he can reach just because he rotated the shoulder. Okay? So that's proper mechanics. The reason why a lot of people are not landing the right hand when they're sparring or fighting is because of this first tip. All right, now I'm going to cover something else. So tip number 2 is going to be the full rotation of the lower body. All right, this is what generates the power. So now in the first tip, we covered how we generate that distance and that length of your right hand. Now we're going to look at his leg position. All right, so now he's going to do the same thing that we just covered, but this time you'll see his waist, his knee, and his heel turn at the same time. As he throws the right hand here, you'll see the proper twisting of that back foot. The heel rotates, which dips in his knee, and then his hip pushes all the way through to the shoulder into that punch. Now, if you can always learn to plant your feet properly and execute that punch by driving off the back foot, you're going to generate a lot of power into that right hand. So one more time, slow. As he rotates, boom. Make sure that the ball of your foot on the back foot is planted firmly onto the ground, and you rotate everything, just like a garden hose, for example. If I were to turn that on, you'll see the jet stream of that water come out and all the way through to the end of your hose. Same thing. Imagine that's the same principle here as you're driving your foot, twisting it into your ankle, your knee, your hip, all the way to the shoulder and into your punch, right? It drives all the way through. So now when you do it a little bit quicker, everything is synchronized and you drive that punch. Now, a few additional tips. Just for good defense, if Alex faces the camera here and he throws slow motion the right hand, you'll see this hand never comes down, all right? And then this shoulder right here comes up slightly, all right? So you'll hear a lot of terminology a lot of times in boxing. You'll hear coaches say, you know, hands up and chin down, and I say that as well. And that's because you want your hands up to protect your face and your chin down to be tucked in, protected inside that guard, right? Those boxing gloves. So now as he throws that in, he exaggerates, and now because the hand is away from his chin, it replaces with his shoulder. All right, this is proper form, proper technique. So now, these were great tips just to cover the right hand, guys. So make sure that you incorporate this in front of the mirror, look at yourself, even film yourself and examine, right? Auto-criticize yourself when you watch your video footage and to see if you have proper form using all of these basic tips. All right, now we're gonna look at how you can practice your right hand. We talked about the mechanics, that's all nice and dandy, but you gotta be able to land the right hand. So we talked about extending your arm correctly, driving off the back foot to generate some good power, all right? Because you're not gonna land right hands, even if you land on the target, but you don't do any effect. if the right hand is damaging enough, the person's gonna have to parry. He's gonna be afraid of your right hand because it's convincing. So that's the power in it. If you don't have any power, nobody's gonna be intimidated by your right hand. So you're not gonna land it, all right? So now we're gonna look at another tip, which is that covering of the distance. All right, so for example, we talked about if he didn't rotate, he wouldn't land on the target. But what if I moved out of the way? What if I knew exactly what he's about to do, and I knew that this was the target for the right hand, and I was just to take a step back, just that slight step, and that would make him miss. So now, because of this, when you're gonna start sparring, you have proper form, proper drive, you need to be able to have proper footwork. The feet are gonna bring you into range to land the right hand. So we're gonna look at a little drill, very basic, to help you guys with just that, okay? So now what we're gonna do is just step with your lead foot and bring the back foot. 1, 2, all right? Again, 1, 2. These are basics, guys. We properly train this all the time, regularly into our classes. Even if you're a seasoned practitioner, you should always be moving in this fashion, all right? So now, when he wants to throw, let's say, for example, a jab cross, static first, he goes 1, 2, all right? But then again, we want to incorporate this moving forward. So now what he's going to do is drive his jab with his lead foot and his cross with his back foot, okay? Notice again, as he resets his position, very important. Jab and cross, and notice how feet and arms are moving synchronized, okay? So left with left, right with right. A very common mistake is people will jab, they lean forward with the step, boom, and they keep the back foot there trying to throw the right hand. Now you've covered some distance with your lead foot, but you're so far out for the right hand, it'll never land, okay? So you gotta make sure that you bring both feet forward, okay? So step and step it. Again, one more time. Step, step, and one more. Step, step, beautiful, okay? Now, you wanna practice these drills when you're shadow boxing. Of course, you're not gonna be stepping when you're sparring, but these are good exercises, fundamental ones to practice, making sure that you have good balance, proper footwork in order to land the right hand. All right, one more drill that you can do is learning how to advance and retreat, okay? So if you were to step forward, he brings his feet forward, and if he were to go backwards, it's the opposite, right? Now, a very easy drill to practice this, fundamentals, is stepping forward, 1, and then jabbing, boom. And now stepping backwards, 2, and then throwing your right hand, boom. See, very basic. Again, step forward and reset that position before you throw your punch. Step backwards, reset, and now throw the right hand. One more time. Forward, good balance, left hand. Backwards, good balance, throw the right hand, all right? Of course, this is slow motion. This is just to practice knowing where to plant your feet. Because if you were to move backwards and you're crossing your feet, or your feet are all bundled up, they're too narrow, you don't have good base. That means you don't have balance. No balance, no weight transfer, no weight transfer, no power. All right, guys, to end this video, I want to talk about how you can practice properly executing all of these fundamentals when you're training on a heavy bag. All right, so a nice little drill is to first start static, all right? Of course, now he wouldn't move anything. He gets the proper range. You would just measure your distance with your right hand, knowing that that's the range you're gonna throw the right hand at, all right? So without moving the foot, okay? But if you don't turn your shoulder, rotate your trunk, and pivot on the back foot, you're not gonna be able to reach the target of your heavy bag, okay? So you wanna gauge that distance first when you're first starting out. Eventually, you don't need to do this because you're gonna visually know instinctively what the proper range is, and that's what you wanna be able to discover eventually anyways, because when you're gonna be fighting, everything is moving fast, and your opponent isn't going to be a static punching bag, all right? He's gonna be moving around you into the ring, and you wanna be able to gauge that distance very, very quickly and understand almost like a radar what is the proper range to throw and fire out your punches. So now on the right hand, he's gonna start static first, and now he's gonna throw a few here, boom, boom. And again, when you're first starting out, don't throw bombs, don't throw full power, don't throw full strength or speed. Just go mechanics, all right? Just target your heavy bag, all right? Proper rotations, keeping your guard up, okay? Work on your form. Once you get more seasoned, now you incorporate this with more power, more speed. Very good. Okay, now, another great drill to practice, like I said, the second tip was always planting your foot when you throw the right hand, okay? Now we're gonna practice this by having my athlete move to the right side, step, step, and fire out. Boom. Okay, again, step, step, fire out. Let's start back here, Alex. Okay, now notice why we do this, okay? If you were to step too quickly, 1, 2, as you're throwing your punch, let's say for example, simultaneously, you're not gonna have your feet properly planted, and especially not the back foot, all right? So we wanna focus on driving the back leg for the back punch, all right? So he's gonna go step, step, and then fire out, okay? Reset. Okay, watch his feet. He's gonna go step, step, and fire out. If you were to do the opposite, and you were to step crossing his lead foot and fire out at the same time, he's not gonna be in proper balance and he can't fire off the back foot. All right, so one more time correctly, step, step, fire out. Step, step, fire the right hand. Very good. Now, we can also practice this towards the left side, all right? So same principles apply. He's gonna step with his lead leg and then plant his back foot to throw his right hand. Okay, one more time. Step, step, boom. Step, step, boom. All right, so now you see how you can incorporate proper mechanics using basic drills such as this. Now, another fundamental drill you can also practice is maybe moving twice. All right, so as an example, he would move twice to this side as he's throwing a double jab. So he goes boom, boom, and now he plants his foot for the right hand. Okay, one more time. Boom, boom, and fires out the right hand. Again, double jab, right cross, okay? So, guys, these are very fundamental drills, but very, very important ones to practice on a daily basis. Think about these tips, incorporate them into your training sessions, just take them one at a time, focus on doing some shadow boxing, look at yourself in the mirror, film yourself, like I said. This is something I used to do with old camcorders when I was younger, and auto-criticize myself. And I would see, oh, I wasn't twisting my back foot. Oh, I was dropping the lead hand. Whoa, chin was up and shoulder was down. You know, that's a counter for disaster, right? Little things like that. And eventually you get all your form nice and tight and you get beautiful techniques, all right? It's one thing to be able to be a fighter, but you don't want to be just one of those sluggers that goes in nonchalantly throwing punches and bombs, but gets hit and knocked out in the process, right? You have good form means good defense, then you incorporate your offense. That makes you an excellent fighter. All right, guys, so there you have it. Great tutorial on throwing properly the right hand. Hope you guys enjoyed this content. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content just like this one, and we will see you
in the next video.
Take care.